When I came into the Catholic Church at the age of 33, I had already been baptized as a child. So the last thing I had to do before I was actually confirmed into the faith was go to confession. Now, I was not excited about that. And in fact, so much so, I didn't want to go to confession because I didn't think that was going to do anything. I thought it was weird. I didn't really understand the purpose of it. And I guess I was kind of afraid to do it as well, because what an awkward thing is to go to someone and tell them everything that you've done wrong in your life, everything that you can remember. I mean, I couldn't remember everything I did wrong, but you really do have to try and, confess absolutely everything. And then to receive absolution for them. I just didn't really fully understand that. And I didn't really get the best instruction on that. So it's been well over 20 years since then. So I've learned a lot more about it. But anyway, when I made that first confession, I was so nervous. And, it was kind of a communal penance service. So there were several priests about the church, all hearing confessions. And I went up to this young priest. I had no idea who he was. And I sat there before him and I said, this is my very first confession. I'm going to be confirmed into the faith. I have really no idea what I'm doing because I couldn't find any books or any like that. Like no instruction. I mean, you just go to the priest is what they tell you. Go to confession. So anyway, I go up to him and I tell him that, and he kind of walks me through it, which was very helpful for me. And, we talk about all these things, and then he gives me some book suggestions, things that I could read, walks me through an act of contrition, which is just essentially me telling God that I'm sorry for everything that I've done. And we get through that, and he gives me a penance to do. And, and then he gives me a blessing before I leave. And so as I'm walking away from it and everything else, all of a sudden it was just like this weight just lifted off my shoulders. Like, I felt like I was floating, at least a couple inches off the floor, probably, probably not real high, but, it just felt so good. And I've never forgotten that feeling. I've never forgotten how that makes me feel. And so confession is a very big part of my life. And so Sunday morning I went to confession. I got to Mass early. I went to confession so that, I would be all set to go for Mass. And I make that a habit. And I'll tell you, first of all, if you've never been to confession, if you're not Catholic, it's hard to understand if you're not Catholic what it really does for you. And I'm telling you, I didn't want to do it, so it was a big thing for me to do too. I understand the not understanding it part. And if you are Catholic, please make it a habit to start getting to confession, frequently. The church tells us that we have an obligation to do it at least once a year. I would suggest going at least once a month. I mean, really, get started going at least once a month, and then, go a little bit more frequent. The more you go, the more you think about things. We have all the ways that we sin. We're not always nice to people. Sometimes we have thoughts, and, thoughts are not bad in and of themselves. If we just have the thought, we let it go, that's one thing. But if we're dwelling on something, or we're mad at someone, and we're just being uncharitable in our thoughts, that's something that we should talk to the priest about. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because, I went to confession yesterday, and it was, again, very beautiful. And I'm so thankful for that sacrament in my life. Anyway, have a great evening, and I'll see you soon.